Of all the business terms I've come across in more than a decade of international business coaching, the one I loathe the most is the BHAG. Now, partly this is just the writer in me that thinks that that is just such an ugly combination of letters. Nobody ever rolled that out on a Scrabble board and said, wow, how beautiful is that? But also, when I see BHAG getting implemented into organisations, I see it actually having the opposite effect to what is desired. Instead of it motivating the team to achieve something extraordinary, it actually undermines the team and the objectives of that business. So here, in a business rather than a literary sense, is why I dislike the BHAG and the one very, very specific set of circumstances in which it has been shown to work, so that you can determine whether you should disagree with me and go ahead and implement one for you anyway. If you're not familiar, BHAG is an acronym. It stands for a big, hairy, audacious goal. In Australia, the audacious is sometimes a part of the anatomy that starts with R and is also often hairy, but it's seen as that big, clear and compelling vision, that mission that we're all working towards. In Built to Last, the authors talked about it as the bold mission and used, which is the most common example used for a BHAG, the United States moon mission. JFK standing up at the university and saying, by the end of this decade, we will have put a man on the moon and returned him safely to this earth. That is a big, hairy, whatever kind of goal. It's big and it's out there. Does that translate into business? Well, the first thing I see when most business owners share their organisation structures, missions, culture with me is that they have a BHAG that's either small or, frankly, somewhat ridiculous. Here are the questions you've got to ask about whether your BHAG is actually going to achieve those outcomes. Does it stimulate progress in your business, in your industry? Or is it a side thing that's completely irrelevant to the actual progress of your business? Does it create momentum? So does having that goal get the energy and the momentum flowing in your business to move in that direction? Does it stimulate creativity? Does it get the creative juices of your team flowing? And most importantly is remembering that what you're looking to do is tap into the discretionary talent and energy of your employees. Not everybody brings 100% of themselves to work all day, every day. I mean, we need to sleep, we need to re-energize, we have downtime. That's fine, that's normal. A great BHAG taps into more of those individuals. It needs to be bigger and quite a good deal bigger than just your quarterly or your annual goals. If it's only those annual goals, then the team are going to do whatever they normally do to achieve those. They're not going to put in that extra effort because they're excited, they're motivated, and they can see how this will change the business and the world. Does your BHAG meet those criteria? Or is it just a funny kind of thing you threw into your strategic plan that makes people get a little bit excited or have a bit of a giggle? Okay, so you've got the BHAG and it does meet those criteria. Will it actually help your business or will it set it back? And this is something that surprises people when I walk them through the research that Harvard Business Review did into the application of BHAGs that found more often than not they cause issues rather than achieving great outcomes. And it links to the prior goals that you've had in the business and the prior success that your team have had meeting them. So we start with this box here. Let's say in the past, your business has had pretty low objectives. Your revenue targets haven't really been massive. You haven't wanted them to run at full capacity. You've had some fairly average, ordinary, low goals, and yet the team has still failed to meet them. Now, if you put a BHAG into that team, if you go, hey guys, we've never actually successfully built any kind of vehicle, and last time we tried to, go outside the office, we all got hay fever and had to come back in, but we're going to put a man on the moon. It's too big, it's too far a stretch. The team are not going to be connected in any way, and they're probably laughing about you behind your back for even putting it out there. This is not a good spot to implement a BHAG. This is a good spot to redesign your business, to work out why your team are failing to meet even the lowest objectives. Now, let's say you've had some higher goals. You know, these are over and above industry standards. You've pushed the team to achieve them, and unfortunately, they still have not. Is this a good time to throw a BHAG on them? Absolutely not. Right now, this team is demotivated. They were given some goals, and even though they were a stretch, the team failed to achieve them, and they're feeling a little bit deflated about that. Your focus here is remotivating them, perhaps giving them the same goals with some different ways to approach them to get them to achieve those goals and knock them out of the park. If you put a BHAG on top of that, this team are going to sit there and go, well, you gave us these annual goals that were a stretch and we failed. Now you've got this clear, compelling mission. You think we're going to do that? Again, the energy of your team determines whether the BHAG will succeed. So let's talk about teams that have achieved their prior goals. In this case, they've gone in and they've had low goals, not much of a stretch, but they've achieved them. Pat themselves on the back. Is this a time to throw a BHAG at them? No. Still no. Not quite ready. You have reached a stepping stone. This is the point at which you can pat the team on the back, acknowledge their success in achieving their goals, and start to stretch the goals. Start to give them some slightly bigger challenges without yet going to the full giant jump that comes with a BHAG. And so it's the final category where you have had high goals for your team in the past and they have achieved those goals. This is where a BHAG has been shown to have some benefit because you have a high-performing team already. They've been stretched with some goals and they've achieved them. They've knocked them out of the park. Now you can build on all of that momentum, you can build on that motivation, and you can expand their horizon to embrace a much bigger BHAG. This is a team that already knows they can achieve great things, so give them that clear, compelling mission. Just do me a favour and find a better name.